got a squeaky chair.
I'll stop squeaking. But yeah, you are you're listening to Hammer's number one talk radio show here at KNMC
90.1
FM.
Yeah, almost got it. I think. Whoa, dude! Did you notice there's a turntable in here?
Yeah, you didn't see that we walked in.
Man, when did that get here?
I don't know.
I feel like it's going wooka 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 on that thing. I don't think that's what it's for, but
I don't think I should
I'm pretty sure that's for records. But I'm just saying, whenever you see a record machine, don't you have that? Like you want to walk over and just do the Richard.
I do, but I always assume it breaks.
Yes, it's not good for the records, but that's why they make specialized ones for it. But yeah, it's a fancy looking one too.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're hooking it up so they can do vinyl on the radio.
Yeah, and there's people out there telling me vinyl sounds better. Well, you may like the sound of vinyl, but I can tell you that the sound quality isn't better. You just like the way it sounds.
Well, I mean, movies sounded better when they had no sound.
In mono.
Yeah. I don't think that they would. I would think that the quality we have now would be top notch. Negative. I mean, if I can hear it and understand it. Have you ever tried watching a hockey game from like '93?
Dude, yeah, and what makes me wonder, like with the technology I had back then, remember when they used to highlight the puck?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't they do that now?
Well, TNT does it, but
Do
they don't highlight the puck though. But they do have a streak behind it, so that when they shoot it, you can tell.
But they did that. I mean, I remember seeing that back in the '90s, man. Like when they would highlight the puck. I'm like, oh, why don't they do it now?
All right. Well, I guess I got to do this event stuff, but
You better.
There's no paper in here, so we'll just go by the haverevents.com. Oh, haverareaevents.com.
Haver area events.
What's today? Well, I guess it was like a Rotary Canyon Falls hike today.
It's out in the Bear Paws, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that happened this morning. Probably better to have it in the morning.
Yeah, it's toasty out there.
It is just the normal things. So if you know people that have...
Go to the library at any given time between 8 and 3. There's something happening.
Yeah, they got books and babies. They got story time. Man, they really use the Haver area events calendar. Same with the Haver pool. Has a bunch of stuff going on, like water aerobics, lap swims. That's pretty much daily.
Go swimming, man. It's hot.
Oh, there we go. We've got on July 28th, Happily Ever Before, an MSUN/Matt Theater production. I believe that is the kids Matt puts it on. I'm guessing though. I'm kind of out of the loop.
You don't have leading up to that. They have the kids do a whole week of little events up to that.
Yeah, so that's what Kids Mat is.
Yeah.
Kids Mat is you.
Why isn't your kid in Kid Mat?
Because she's already being taught by a professional.
Oh, professional.
I am a professional actor. Well, I could say I was because I can't do it now. I've been on TV and not just Cops. That was a one-time thing.
What you gonna do? I'm sorry. Okay, we're leaving. Canadian Cops would be the most boring show ever.
The Vancouver Police Department does have a version of Cops.
Really?
And I was on it. And I still remember, because I was security, and we were dealing with an aggressive person out front of the hospital. And the cops showed up. And they were filming right on us. And it was funny because as soon as the cops, and I switched, so we had the guy down, the cops took over. And as soon as they pushed us back, you could tell they started recording and made it so it seemed like they had
calmed down the situation.
Yeah, but it was funny because they kept telling us to stop talking because we were trying to talk.
You're ruining my shot.
Yeah. That was interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the theater's happening on the 28th, 29th, and 30th, starting at 7 p.m. And then there's also, I guess, July 29th is Gary and Leo's frozen food sale. It's on there.
That's yeah, okay. Hey, what about the Saturday market? How'd you do?
Oh, so fun story.
Mm-hmm.
I upgraded my 3D printer.
You're selling toys.
So next Saturday I will be there. I wasn't there this week because the ones I was using didn't meet my standards. So then I upgraded my my 3D printer by installing a bed leveler on it.
Oh.
And now, oh, it's beautiful.
My toys are level.
Well, it's because I also got rainbow filament for them too.
Oh.
So they look pretty
Colorful?
They're dope.
They're dope.
Yeah. But yeah, so next Saturday I will be there. With my toys.
Toys.
And I have painted so much. I have
little time on your hand. How do you find time to paint all the time?
Well, Sammy was pretty impressed. So what I did was I challenged myself with I printed 3 skeleton kind of minis, and I wanted to see if I could paint them as quick as I could. And it took me an hour to paint all 3 and make them good. So now I've painted almost half of the things I've printed. So now I'm working on the last half.
Nice.
So by the time one of my prints finish now, I can usually paint about 6 minis.
Cool.
So I've been getting so much better at my painting that I can now paint faster than I can print.
I would just use the dunk method. Dunk. Here we go. That's
I thought of getting, they kind of have like this new stuff where it's called like quick paint kind of stuff, but I don't like the way it looks.
Well, it's quick. It's meant to get the job done.
Well, it almost looks like a wash. I don't know if you know. A wash is like a light paint that you put on and then it seeps into the cracks to add shadow. So without you having to paint the shadows by hand. Kind of naturally does it. And they made paint that's kind of like that. So it's thicker, but then what happens is as you're painting in that color, it darkens in the areas that, so it's almost like 2-in-1. But I find that it's kind of glossy looking and you can't get that.
So I would, when I got back from my vacation out in the mountains.
Yeah.
Your wife had sent out the new trailer.
Yeah, isn't that looks
for the new D&D movie from a guy who watched the original Dungeons and Dragons movie when it came out, which was awful. It had Jeremy Irons in it, man. I had my hopes up. I was like, come on, he's okay. He's pretty good. And it was still terrible. But yeah, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, showed it to my daughter. She's like, that's an owl bear. I'm like, yes, that is an owl bear.
Oh, it's funny because I was watching it. Sammy watched it before me.
Yeah.
And then I saw her post that. So I was like, oh, what's this? And then I started watching it. And I had paused it. And I was like, oh, cool. He's Bard. And she's like, oh, you saw the trailer? I was like, no, I just got halfway. She's like, how did you know? I was like, he had a loot.
He had a loot. No one else carries a loot. And at the very end, she makes fun of him for it. Yeah, he carries a loot.
Well, I mean, I know you don't play it, but Baldur's Gate 3 is still in like a pre-alpha kind of thing. So you can like early access play it. They just introduced the Bard class that now makes it so that every person, if they have performance skill, can pull out an instrument and play it in the game. Nice. So I was playing my Bard and playing
Did you see what recently came out for sale on, or came out available on GOG and Steam? Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2, baby.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I did see that.
That is, I love that game when it first came out. It came out for the PlayStation.
I always get worried, though, like with, because it's not a remake.
No, it's a port over.
Like, yeah, just to port it over. I always get worried because there's been so many games that I've played again and went, how did I enjoy this?
Yeah, they were so bad. You're like, oh.
Well, because, you know,
or they were unplayable, yeah.
Because I don't know. There was, I mean, like a really good game for me was Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. And that was like my first real choose your adventure.
What you had to do, though, you couldn't play the original game that came out. You had to go out and get the patch for it. But the funny thing is the patch wasn't built by
No, it was
The
built
game
by
designers,
people.
it was by the people who wanted the game. They literally like, we love this game so much we patched it ourselves because you guys suck at making a game.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have it, you couldn't see any of the maps. You couldn't read the email in your computer thing. It was a horribly done game, but a very good game.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like I remember playing that when I was younger, and then I got it so Sammy could play it because I was like, I think you'll like this because the combat's not that difficult,
No, it's a point and click.
but the story is the fun part. And when she started playing it and liking it, I was like, I watched her and I was like, oh, I don't think I could play it anymore. It just seems so. I don't know. Like there's certain games that I can play again. But then there's other games that I'm like, I remember loving it at the time. And if you'd never played it before, you'll probably love it. But going back and playing it after playing all the stuff I've played now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The way, as far as like just game technology and graphics, and I mean, we were when we started playing, it was linear. You know, you went across the screen. You just kept going this way, or you went back this way.
Side scrollers.
Yeah, the old side-scrolling games, and now you're like, well, I can go anywhere I want to.
Yeah, there's a new Sonic game coming out that's open world.
Yeah, and you try playing one of those side-scroller games, like, this is stupid, I want to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or you run into a game where you can't jump, or you can only jump in places it allows you to do it, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, that was what game was like that? Where it was really good, but it bugged me that you couldn't jump. The only thing you could do is run towards stuff, and it would jump over it while you were running.
Yeah. Oh.
Everybody wants to jump around like a lemur.
Right? Like, why are you jumping? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I play World of Warcraft, and my entire group that I play with goes, could you please stand still? And
Like it's Skyrim, we're like, man, I got to run around this mountain range to get to this place. Run around it? Are you kidding me?
just jump up the mountain.
It takes you twice as long to jump up and over it as it would to go around it, but you still do it. Or you ride your horse up it and just let him ramp off. He dies, you survive when you hit the ground.
Yeah, you can get another horse.
Yeah. Well, if you do the one quest where you become like the crazy rogue assassin, blood assassin guy, you can just summon a horse anytime you want. Or you just steal someone's horse.
Mm.
I don't know what's good.
Yeah, no. I've been kind of going back and playing because I own so many games. I was going back and playing ones that, so like the new Assassin's Creed was one. I never beat that. So I went back and I looked and I was like, 47 hours played and I'm only 50% done.
I look at Skyrim and it goes 105,000 hours, 20% complete. What are you doing?
Yeah,
nothing.
That was 100% a game where you had to go, you know what? I'm going to finish this the whole quest line. If you decided that you were going to just do whatever, you'd never finish it.
No. But back to the D&D movie, I honestly, and they got good, solid actors, Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez to help, get some solidity there. Amanda actually asked, she's like, well, why didn't they ask like some of the actors who play, like Sean Austin, he was in the Lord of the Rings. He's an avid player. Everybody knows Vin Diesel plays. Vince Vaughn, a lot of these big, Joe Manganiello. Like, why don't they pick these guys? I'm like, man, they got a budget.
Yeah. They could have asked us.
Yeah, right. We could have totally done it.
Mm-hmm.
By the rules.
Okay.
What I find really stupid too is like, yes, it's a D&D movie, and there was somebody complaining in the trailer. You see that druid shift into an owlbear.
Yeah.
She technically can't. She can eventually. But there was someone whining. I'm like, it's a movie. Come on.
Let's point out what it says
in the D&D Dungeon Master rule book. You can either follow these rules or throw this book away.
So I mean, I would look at it as maybe.
Look at the cool factor when she transformed into one, and then went from owlbear to leaping and landing on her horse in her own form. I'm like, that's cool.
Now she's just got to do a rest,
right? Actually, it depends on which one you go down, and I'm gonna bore people with D&D rules. But if you go down the circle of the one that allows you to change, you can do it more often.
Mm-hmm.
Not so spellcasty. But looking forward to the movie anyway, and I hope it pushes this type of stuff back into the spotlight again. It kind of fell out a little bit after Lord of the Rings.
Have you watched Stranger Things?
I watched the first season.
Well, because I think, is it the third? I don't know. I've watched them all because Sam and I enjoy it's a show we watch together. And the new one is 100% based on Dungeons and Dragons.
Second edition, I believe, right? Like the old school.
Like the old school one, yeah.
Because they're playing around with Vecna.
Yeah, and it was during the time when
the Satanic Panic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when there was the moral panic, using that word terminology for my wife, so that she'll think I'm attractive.
It was a Satanic Panic. You play D&D, you must worship Satan. We're trying to defeat evil.
All right, but there is one scene in it that's great because they're after this one guy that is the dungeon master for this group. So kind of like how we play and get together, they considered that the cult. And this guy, he's running from the football players that are trying to beat him up because the guy's girlfriend bit the dust. And so while they're chasing him, all of a sudden one of his friends gets floating up in the air and then like killed in the air. And so now he's like, he's Satan. Because they saw that. But the kid's running because he's like, oh my God. Like, he's just as scared. But it's very interesting and it's very cool to see, Dungeons and Dragons and that time frame.
Yeah, it was a very tough time. Like, they literally invented a die for it, the D4.
Yeah.
And it was funny because they put inside one of the original box sets that you could get. You just put these in front of your door so when they run in to arrest you for the Satanic Panic, they step on the sharp point you did. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, the D4. Stepped on a Lego? Oh, you poor thing. I have those metal ones, man. That one will go through your foot. It's wicked.
Well, it's a cat trick.
Right. 1d4 damage. And a lot of swear words later.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So, did you do anything exciting over the weekend? I went camping. I'll get into that in a minute.
Not really. We just had a friend in town, so we had to. Well, we hung out with them and then helped their family out a little bit, and then had some family dinners. We did go to. I don't know if that was. Well, I think it was. We went to Fresno, just because during the week nobody's at that beach.
Watch for glass, man.
Oh, we wear water shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I love going out. I used to love going out to Fresno, and then I'm like, people just love for some reason starting a fire on the beach and then lighting it and then throwing glass bottles in it. Like,
yeah,
why? What is the purpose here?
Yeah, I don't. When we first moved here, every time we went to go to that beach, it was packed.
Yeah,
and we couldn't do anything. And now, it seems like every time I go there, there's like maybe 2 people.
Yeah. There's a lot of, you can go to Kremlin Bay, which is further, you just keep drawing, instead of turning at Fresno, you keep going down a ways, another couple miles. There's that little bay there, you can go out there, or you can go to the main.
I just like going
beach,
there because, where I'm from, there's like 50 lakes within walking distance. So I kind of knew where I could go with my dog and where you could camp and nobody would be around. And, like, I remember as a kid hiking over like a mountain by our house. And then my buddies and I would spin around, and then one of us would tell us to stop, and we'd walk in a direction, and then we would walk until we found water, and then camp by it.
Yeah. Big thing of Fresno, you got to watch for snakes. There'd be a few snakes out there. It's hot, not much shade. I guess the main beach has got the pavilion there, doesn't it? It's been a long time since I've been out there.
There's like a tent camping area.
Yeah.
It's got some shade. And because of the big rains we've had, the water level's right back up again.
Right? Oh, man, I used to go out there sometimes, and it would just – there's a sandbar. If you're in that main beach, there's a sandbar island that stretches out almost to the – you can walk out 100 feet, and the water's at your waist.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was last year we went out there, and I felt like you could walk for 10 minutes before you hit the water on the beach. But this time it was pretty close to the top again.
Yeah. If you keep going – if you know where you're going out there and don't want to, if you have a vehicle that can not get stuck, you can go to the cliff area and you can have some cliffs on there to jump off of. When the water level's high, you can do that.
I feel like you're telling me to do this because you're like, it's fine.
It's fine.
Just jump.
You just have to jump further than the cliff below you so you don't hit that.
Yeah.
So, oh man, I love camping. Love it. It's exhausting.
Yeah, especially how warm was it?
Not bad out there. I think the hot, like we were out. Amanda packed up, went out Thursday morning, and I went out after work. And I would say Thursday was probably the hottest day, and it was probably 90, 92 out there because I think it was like 104, 105 here in town. It was wicked hot.
We had our AC on for 3 days.
I know, you're weird. You guys don't like that thing. Like,
No.
you guys have it, and you're like, I don't want to use it. I'm like, why?
Well, we use it when it's like really gross out.
It's really gross out.
Yeah, but we have the basement, so I just keep going down there. And Sammy is like a walking popsicle because she's cold all the time.
Yeah.
So when she's hot, she knows that I'm dying.
Are you okay? I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Well, we've been laying on the couch with like.
Did you just get out of the shower? No. What'd you do? I went to the fridge.
Well, we did make. Well, not we. Sammy made a rhubarb crisp.
Woo. Yeah. Oh wait, because you got a rhubarb plant.
Yeah, so we trimmed it all up because it was getting
You
ridiculous.
can call it trim. Mow that thing. It'll be back in a week.
Yeah, well, we cut it right down, so it's like.
It'll be back in a week.
But then she made a rhubarb crisp. I don't really like rhubarb. What was that? It wasn't bad.
Strawberry rhubarb pie. Ridiculous.
Yeah, our strawberries are all gone for some reason.
Birds, or you're eating them.
We ate them all. We have a lot of raspberries though. We've been having people come over and take buckets.
Yeah. Man was watering ours earlier, and we haven't picked them in a little bit. They were so ripe that the water jet would hit them and they'd fall off. She's like, we probably should have picked these before we went out of town. Sorry, they'll be back in a couple of days.
We gave some to the family that we were hanging out with, and then one of our friends came over because they gave us some spinach. So they got a whole bunch, and we still can't get rid of them.
Oh, no, you won't. Yeah. I mean, they'll keep going.
I even pulled some because they tried to grow, you know how you can take clippings and plant them and
Oh, yeah.
usually grow? Theirs weren't. So I was like, oh, yeah, well, here. And I pulled some that were sprouting, and I was like, here, there's the root.
Yeah, you got to have the root usually gets going.
So I gave her 2 tall ones with a root, and she was like, well, I was like, I've got like 50 of them.
And those will probably come back in a few days. So
I pull strawberry plants probably about 3 or 4 a week that are growing outside of the area.
yeah, because when they grow down, and then they come up out of the ground, and then they grow back down into the ground. They're weird. They're like snakes.
They're kind of like a weed style.
They are weeds. Like both of those plants are literally weeds. They'll take over anything.
Which is fine for us because I like them. And because of our dogs running around, the birds.
You go to the store and buy a store-bought strawberry and eat one of the ones out of your garden, you can tell. I mean, you blindly like that's the garden one.
Yeah.
The store-bought ones just taste.
They don't even take like a whole lot. We barely water it.
You didn't even know you had the things.
Well, I knew we had them on the side.
And you're like, what do I have to do to take care of them? Nothing.
I do water them.
You throw a little water on them, they'll be good to go. You can't kill them. But yeah, it was hot. But the creek, man, holy cow, it's cold.
What were you guys up near Glacier? So where you went?
No, we were camping on the Bear Paws.
Oh.
Out here. And we were just past the Rotary Pond there.
Mm-hmm.
It's cold. I was in Glacier 2 weeks ago. The water in the glacial lakes isn't as cold as our creek is right now.
So how much trouble did your son get into?
Which time?
That's the only thing I kept thinking. I was like, what do they do with him out there?
You just kind of let him roll, right? He was running around Winnie the Pooh style for quite a while. Shirt, no pants.
Frankie too?
Yep.
Nice. Catch a Frankie like that.
Yeah. Well, we had to keep her chained up because she's deaf,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she's like ADHD. So she's like, oh, I gotta go over here, and you're like, oh my god. Normally when she could hear, I could just yell at her, she'd come right back. But I'm like, oh, she's deaf. But she's shedding terribly. So she got like 3 bass in the creek. And on the way back today, we had her tied in the back of the truck so she wouldn't jump out. We had a harness on her and a cord that goes across the top so she can't go up. Balls of fur just flying out of the back of the truck.
I guess that's one way to comb them.
Right? I combed her like 5. Like I was in the creek, while she was all wet, combing her out, and they were playing downstream, and they're like, "Did you massacre a dog?" Because there was just clumps coming down the stream. So
we saw a coyote coming in there a couple weeks ago.
That first night we were there, I think we heard some.
Those are fun to hear. I like hearing
They
those.
just yip and yap.
Yeah.
And they don't sound anything like a dog, so it's really hard to like if you hear a weird yipping sound and you're like, I think it's a dog. Coyotes are really.
Yeah, I always thought that when there was a bunch of them doing it, it sounded like something was being massacred.
Oh yeah.
Because you hear them sometimes in town, because they're on the outskirts.
Yeah. The worst part about camping, man, is packing up. Like, why do we bring so much crap? and why can't they make tents fit easier in their? I mean, they make the bag just barely big enough if you squeeze every ounce of oxygen and body space down to get that stuff in there.
Yeah, all they have to do is make it slightly bigger.
Yeah. What? 6 more inches?
Yeah.
Anything? 3?
I think they do it on purpose because then you might just get rid of the tent and buy a new one.
Right? Oh. So Amanda got out there and I didn't have to put up a tent. She did all that stuff before I got out there.
You guys don't have the easy tents?
Oh no. She got the kids a little one. It's 2 poles.
Oh, just the V tent?
Yeah, no, they're just the 2 poles cross over and it just makes two arcs and their tent's up.
And the tent that we have, you grab it by the top, and then I pick it up and I shake it, and it pops open. That's how lazy we
are. Our tent, my big tent, is like a 12 or 14 man tent. It's got 2 rooms in it. We have to have an air mattress. I don't sleep on the ground.
Well, because we're talking about going camping. We're trying to figure out where we want to go, where we can bring our dogs and let them kind of just play. But we were looking, and I found a place near Yellowstone.
Mm-hmm.
That is like something out of the movies. When you see like the tent parks, and then you go to the corporal's tent, and it's fully furnished and has everything. And I was like, how cool would that be? And it's cheaper than going to a hotel.
It is, yeah. You can do it for like $69 a night or something like that.
It was just pretty neat, and I was like, you know what? And it has plumbing. Because that would be, for me, it's not a big deal, but I know for my wife, plumbing is a big deal.
If you go east, Sleeping Buffalo's got something like that, but they're pretty close to each other. But there's a lake right there. Amanda and I went there, and they have a hot spring.
Mm.
Not so fun in the summer, but
why not?
A little warm. But apparently, Amanda says you're glamping.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
I mean, I've camped my entire life. I'm going to be 38 soon. I should enjoy life to the fullest now.
Like, you see all these campers, like they got big screen TVs and everything, and I'm like,
see, I don't want that.
What? Why? Like, why don't you just stay home? It's cheaper.
But so if we go camping
mm-hmm.
and we do what we normally do, I can tell you exactly how it's going to be. We're going to have a tent that's like a 4-person tent. We can't use an air mattress because we have dogs. Because we will not leave our dogs outside. You really think my wife is going to let my 2 dogs sleep outside?
Your dogs treat your wife treats your dogs better than she treats you.
Right? So that means that the dogs are going to be in the tent. So now there's going to be 2 dogs, 2 adults, and a small child inside a little tent. And we're not going to have a fan or anything. So how hot do you think I'm going to get? I'm going to end up sleeping outside and get eaten by mosquitoes.
Yeah. Or a bear. Just telling you.
Bears leave me alone.
Yeah. They have those things in Yellowstone,
Yeah.
I've seen like 7 stories this year of people being mauled by wild animals in Yellowstone. And there's a sign every 6 feet saying, "Don't touch the animals. Stay away from the animals."
Okay, but how am I supposed to take a selfie with a bison?
An entire group of people apparently got hurt by a one. Like, these aren't house cats. And honestly, house cats are mean. Right? You have cats.
Yeah.
They can mess your hand up.
Well, we were watching videos of crazy wild animal kind of stuff. And there was this guy, and he's like, "This is a huge house cat." And Sammy and I are like, "I think that's a bobcat." But it was a kitten one, I think.
Yeah.
And, he was petting it.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think this is a good idea yet.
Right? Oh, yeah. Like, because we go up to Glacier all the time. My wife's family lives over there, and they have bears. So if you're going to go berry picking or hiking, you need your bear. And people are like, you got to pack your 458 Magnum. And I'm like, no, bear spray. I can't mess with that. That's a tornado of bear spray.
Well, and here's the other thing.
And I'd be shaking too hard to
you
shoot straight.
You can have your Magnum. I'm assuming those are not very accurate because of the power behind them.
I'm just going to mace him so he falls on the ground crying and run away so the bear eats him.
But just so everyone knows, if you don't shoot it and kill it,
It's going to keep coming.
it's going to get and do something it probably wasn't expecting to do, and that's to eat you. Because, I mean, most of them are just, I don't know how many videos I've seen where people are yelling at the bears. There was one guy who was like yelling at the bear, and he's like, wait a second, you know what? And he walked off the trail he was on and just stayed in the bush. And they just walked by him because they were using their trail. I mean, for the most part, I don't think like bears and that kind of animal, they don't want to.
They're not seeking it, but if it's a mama grizzly and she's got cubs, you're in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Not unless you pick up her cub and use it as a shield.
Give that a go. Because mama bearism transfers to all species.
Yeah.
And you and I can both say that our wives are mama bears. You come between mama and cub. I'm just going to go pick out a tombstone for you, dude, because you're in a world of pain.
That's where my favorite saying when people get mad at me was, I can run faster scared than you can angry.
I can outrun you. No, you can't. You're only going to have one hamstring. I saw that in a movie once, man. It was terrible. I don't even remember what the movie was, but they were like, this big bad dude was going to chase him. So the guy just pulled a knife. He's like, oh, good, you got a knife. He turned and just sliced the guy's hamstring and took off running. I'm like, oh, that's cold, but it ensures your survival.
Well, I mean, I was always taught that you make sure that when you're going, like when I go camping in the woods, I never went by myself. And make sure that the other person that you're with is not faster than you.
Yep. Yeah, I know my wife's grandpa wants to go huckleberry picking. And you could understand this, man. They sell huckleberries for like $70 a gallon. If all you had to do is go up on a hill and pick a few berries, make $70, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The issue is, for one, you got to go up the mountain. And the bears like the berries too. So you got 2 designated pickers and a pork chop. Who gets to wear the pork chop?
Yep. We lived in Vancouver, and we had a lot of black bears in the city.
Those things, the skittish.
Yeah, those were kind of fun. I don't know how many times we were driving out of and we're in a populated area.
Oh, yeah.
We'd be like, oh, there's the black bears.
They're like dogs.
Yeah.
And you probably see them the same ones every day in the same spot because there's like a garbage can or something there that they really enjoy.
And the other thing, too, is like they have really big raccoons there. And I think it's just because they eat so well. They were massive.
Raccoons are so cool.
Well, yeah, we used to get in trouble. Our neighborhood eventually.
They have hands!
Well, they had signs going up around our little neighborhood saying "Stop feeding the wildlife" because people were seeing us hand food to like the raccoons and the squirrels.
Yeah, but I mean, they have little hands.
Yeah,
and they hold.
They hold it. They move it around.
They're really smart. They really are. But they can be. But they get undependent. Like, well, he's gonna give me food. I'm gonna keep coming back. Like when we go camping out here, we have to put the dog food up and all that stuff because if you don't, well, raccoons really like dog food or cat food or anything they don't have to catch. Yeah. But they're just really cool. The masked bandits.
They are trash pandas.
Little trash pandas. Mean trash pandas if they don't like you.
It's like on Guardians of the Galaxy when he calls him a trash panda.
It's way worse.
Yeah.
Oh man. So camping. That was fun. I enjoy camping.
And just to say, I still think glamping is when people have a trailer.
Well, I'm just saying, if you pay for a big luxury cabin that's got satellite TV and a plush bed in it, that's still glamping.
Well,
You're staying.
That's not going camping. It's going.
That's what you want to do.
No, it didn't have any TV.
How do you know?
Because I saw the pictures.
Does it have Wi-Fi?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right.
It literally looks like you would see in a movie from back in like.
Oh, that type of cabin, an old school.
Well, it's not even a cabin. It's a tent.
Oh.
It's those white tents they would pitch when they were the militaries.
They still use those tents, the canvas tents.
Yeah. It was like one of those.
Nice. Those things get big.
Well, that's just the thing. The whole point of it was, it'd be nice just to have like a bed, but it was because the size would make
Oh
it
no,
so that
I don't sleep on the ground. I sleep on an air mattress or bust. I don't sleep on the ground.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, because every time we've had an air mattress, our animals pop it.
That's because you let your dog sleep with you.
Yeah, because they're family.
Uh-huh. That's not my problem. Stop letting your pets sleep with you.
It's not a pet, it's family.
It's a pet.
It's family. We adopted it.
Do you take your cats camping?
We have.
I remember as a kid, someone brought their cat out camping with us out in the Bear Paws. I was a little kid, but now I think I'm like, why on earth would you bring your cat?
Well, I mean, we had a cat, Jinx. I don't know if you have to be here. I don't know if she passed away, but she used to love walks. She was the only cat that I had ever had that would actually go for walks.
Well, and here's the thing: like around here, most people when they go camping, they take their dogs. Mm-hmm. So you got 6, 8. I mean, we would go camping when I was a kid. We'd have families, so we'd have like 6 or 8 campers spread out over like 3 campgrounds, and everybody had their dogs. And this one person was like, "Oh, I'll bring my cat." Guess where that cat ended up?
In a tree.
Yeah, and it never came down.
So he knew where it was.
They couldn't get it down. Oh man.
I think Thrall would just roll over. He's so fat.
I can't climb that, man. That's just too much.
It's like, just eat me.
That's basically you and me in the nowadays. So I like back in the day, man, we used to take cases of beer, and which reminds me, you're a Mountain Dew fan, right? You got to try something.
Drink it.
Yeah. Anyway, so we drink cases of beer. Like, I mean, when you went camping with your buds, man, I mean, you just beers the whole
you
time.
Put them in the stream so they stay cool.
Oh yeah, and if you didn't pack coolers, we're just lazy. We pack coolers. We don't want our beer floating away. I drink like 2 or 3 beers while I'm out camping, and I wake up 7 times a night to go pee. And I'm like, this is stupid. How did I drink like a case back in the day? Sleep all night, wake up, and just take one long pee.
That's just our bodies getting to the point where they're like, no, stop stressing.
My bladder's like, dude, I'm just too lazy for that anymore.
Well, think about it for your like daily routine. How many of us at the age we're at wake up, go and do something, and then go, I don't want to do anything today because I don't have to.
Every day.
So what's not to say that your bladder doesn't say the same?
I know, right? It's like, dude. And beer doesn't even have to change colors, man. I'm not keeping it.
Yeah.
It's just going.
It's a straight shot.
Yeah, straight through. The liver's like, nope, I'm done. Yep.
Well, it's fun because I always, so on my birthday, Sammy and I will be together just as long as we weren't.
It's weird, isn't it?
We're at the point where
I'm not there yet, but I'm real close.
And we're at the point that the day,
is that this year? It is this year. Oh.
The day after my birthday is.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, and we were talking about the other day, and I was like,
You must have got dates wrong.
I might have. Oh no, sorry, that's my 40th. That's what she said. But we were talking about it. That means she's listening at least. We were talking about it, and I even told her, I said, right now, I have more memories that I can remember with her than with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I remember things when I was a kid and stuff like that, but now all of those are starting to be drowned out by almost every memory I have. I'm like, oh, yeah, remember when we?
Mm-hmm.
Remember when we?
Yeah, I get the same. I mean, we've been with the same person so long.
Yeah, so I'm asking her, I'm like, are you bored yet?
So I freaked my wife out this weekend.
Uh-oh. You showed her?
Like, no. She's been that long and she's never seen it. No. Like, is there anything about you that your wife doesn't know?
Yes.
Like physical talents or anything that you can do that she doesn't know?
Oh, physical talents? Probably not, because I had to impress her.
You had to pull out every card. But my daughter was sitting in a chair and she was talking about, I don't know what the subject came up because I was doing something else when I walked in on it. She's like, everybody has their own little talent, you know, and there's this thing called gleeking that people can do. And I'm like, I can do that. And man looked at me and goes, you can do that? And what is it? Exactly. If you...
I'm going to look this up while you're telling me.
Yeah, it's a little easier to look up than to...
Well, you can explain to everybody else.
Right. It's just read the top thing there.
Oh, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. My wife didn't know I could do it. So if you read it out loud, it probably explains it better
It
than I
is
can.
to discharge a long, thin stream of liquid, including saliva, through the teeth from under the tongue, sometimes by pressing the tongue against the salivary.
She looked, she's like, you cannot. And I looked at her and I did it. And she's like, I don't even know you. She's like, how come you never showed me? I'm like, why would I? Like, what? I guess nothing ever came up to.
You should have instantly been like.
I should have led with that when we were going out.
Oh, no. You're like, you should, after you did it. And she's like, I don't even know you right now. I'd be like, I know. What do you want to do about this?
Right.
My name's Derek. How are you doing?
Yeah. Want to sit down, have a talk, get to know each other?
That's like with Sammy, every once in a while when something comes up, I'm like, hi, I'm Roy. Nice to meet you.
Right.
She's like, oh.
Yeah, it was just one like I guess I never actually thought about it. Like I just assumed she'd seen me do it once.
Yeah, I don't even want to watch there's like a video of how to leak.
and Aurora's like, Dad, how'd you learn to do it? I'm like, I don't know. It's probably your age and with a bunch of kids sitting on the bus trying to figure out how to do it.
Yep.
Like, and I told him, and I was telling her, I'm like, sometimes people do it. When you spit when you talk, and
yep.
That's it. It's just I figured out how to do it whenever I want to.
It's like me. I can vibrate my eyes at an extremely high pulse.
And my kid thinks it's the coolest thing. Look at my ears. My wife knew I could do that, but
I want to try to be able to move my pecs, but I need to get them first.
I was going to say you might need to do a bench press at some point in order to do that.
See, the sport that I play, at the caliber that I play at, I don't need to bench press.
You're not an enforcer.
That doesn't really exist anymore.
No, it doesn't.
And even if I had to be one again, I was kind of mean at it, so I didn't need strength for the way that I did it.
You do the mental game. You didn't even do the physical part.
Yeah. Going in and acting like you're going to hit somebody, and then they're always going to brace for it because it's just common, and then stopping before you did it and say, sorry, I didn't want to hurt you. That gets in their head.
Or worse than actually hitting them.
Yeah.
Because then they'd have something to hit you back for. But now, if they hit you, it's like, oh, look at that. What? Have a good time in the box, bro. So, yeah.
So, the tournament that we're going to, I found out that they're doing a skills competition on Saturday.
Is there one for pushing buttons? Because you don't own that one.
Well, Sammy's like, does that mean that you're going to go? And I was like, well, I'm playing in the lower division. I don't know what it'll look like if I actually try a skills competition. But I still thought that was a neat idea.
Right.
So we might go, and I don't know if I'll do it.
Maybe that's something we should try and pull off around the 3-on-3 tournament for us.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to see how it works down there, and because I think it would just be a lot of fun.
I think we could have killed a little time this year with that 3-on-3 tournament.
Yeah.
It lasted 2.5 hours. And I think we could have got it down to 2 hours.
I think everybody that was at it though.
Oh, had fun.
Yeah, they seemed to say.
But we only had 4 teams, right? So I mean, it was like all teams were playing at the same time, and then we took a 30-minute break, and then we're like the second game, and then they're like, "Can we not take the break and just get right into the last game and go?"
Sure.
Yeah, there you go.
So a couple of the teams though were tired, like
the elderly guys.
Old guys. The old guys.
And they were only playing half ice.
Yeah.
It's not even half ice; it's cross ice.
Yeah.
So, but it was still a ton of fun.
Yeah.
You want to hear a rant?
Sure.
This is what we do. We rant, right? So I'm sitting at work the other day, and up front they were, me and another lady were working together, and she went to lunch. And I was sitting there on the radio, and there's an actual radio commercial telling people to make sure to not leave their children in their hot cars. To look and check the back seat before you get out to make sure your little one isn't still in the car.
Yeah.
How do you forget you have a kid?
Well, so there's I haven't told you about this, but one of the girls that we went to high school with, just maybe a month ago, left her kid in the car and went into work. She was supposed to drop her kid off at daycare, and normally her husband would do it, and it was the first time that she had to, and she forgot. Yeah, we can't figure it out. We can't figure out how.
I can. This was in her hand. I guarantee you she had a phone in her hand. I wasn't paying attention to anything else.
Well, for me and like Sammy, I always am talking to my kid in the back seat, and because when I'm not talking to her, I think something's wrong.
Dude, when there's no one in the car, you're talking.
Yeah, probably. We do have conversations.
I'm talking to somebody who will actually listen.
But I mean, I don't want to just down talk them all because we've never been in that situation.
But I can't.
But it's hard to figure out how it could happen.
I've left my kids in the car while I ran in because I'm like, I got to go in and grab, and I'm coming right back out. And I know I'm in a hurry. It's hot. But my car has AC, and it runs. But some people shut their car off and go shopping while their kid's in the car. And I won't get started. Okay, it's bad enough you do it with your kids. That's terrible. Then they do it with their pets, too. If you're going to take your dog to the store and just leave him in the car, leave him at home.
And Canada has a fun law that if you find a dog in a car,
that's a law here now.
And that's not running, you have a legal right to
That's
break
here
their
now too.
window.
I seen a TikTok the other day. It had there was a dog sitting in a window, and you see the camera scroll down, and there's a big sticker on the window that says, "Please do not break my window. The dog is fine. The AC is running." The dog is just sitting there chilling.
Yeah.
He's
like at the horn,
right? Because I've left my daughter. She's 9. She'll be 9. In the car with my son. I'm like, I'm gonna run in and grab something real quick. AC's going full blast. It's cold in there.
Well, I think there's a difference too. I mean, your daughter's old enough now that she would understand when something's happening, and she would help her.
And she's not strapped into. But people are leaving their babies in their cars. Like, why are you shopping with your kid in the car?
Oh yeah, because we there was like an article or something or a video we watched where I think it was in Texas where a woman drove home. They got out of the car and she went and started setting up for her daughter's birthday, and her son had stayed in the car, and he ended up passing away.
Yeah.
But she was so confused because he always just got into the car himself, but he stayed in it this time. So that sparked Sammy and I to talk with Persephone, and we talked to her if she was ever in any car and she's getting hot,
Get out.
she gets out of the car.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, and people are like, well, it's not that hot. I'll crack the window.
yeah, no.
No, at 70 degrees, the inside of your car will heat to 90, almost 100 degrees.
Yeah, they're not meant to be.
They're ovens.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't figure out why.
The fact that they have to have a radio announcement to go, make sure you check the back seat for your small baby.
The worst part though is that radio announcement. What if they're not in their car?
Like, man, what? We are so busy right now with too much going on. And a lot of it is this stuff, this garbage. You don't need to be staring at this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Concentrate on what's important.
Yeah, I was raised to whatever job I took, didn't matter what it was, as long as you could spend time with your family.
Well, and you've seen me do it. We'll be sitting there and all of a sudden I'll just go like, it's quiet. Where's my son?
Yeah. He either has fallen asleep or something bad.
Something terrible has gone very wrong.
Because I mean, even when Sammy's watching him, she's like, "Yeah, he'll be playing with the other kids. It's quiet, and then you hear the. Oh yes, Kingston. And then he runs away again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cute. He had a cute moment. I was over there. I was cutting firewood, right? I'm like, "Hey, do you want to help me stack the wood on the pile?" He's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, he's over there. He's got a big old piece. I'm like, "Oh, your little beefcake." He's like, "Yeah, beefcake." Yeah, beefcake. And
Yeah.
he's just stacking the wood. Oh, he's a helper.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how much of a helper he is when he's a little bit older too.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to break the guy's face.
Right? Yeah, no cake. Yeah. So now when we ask like, "Hey, you beefcake?" He's like, "Yeah, cake." He only says cake. You won't say beef in front of it?
Yeah,
I
so
cake.
that's just cake.
Yeah, I'm cake.
Cake by the ocean.
Well, you want beef or cake? Cake.
Both.
I want my beef and my cake.
Yeah. No, I feel bad for parents that go through.
I've heard of kids locking themselves in freezers that were unplugged and broken because they're playing hide and seek, getting into the back of cars. That's why that little glow in the dark trunk pull thing is there.
Yeah.
Also, for the weird time you get kidnapped, which is less likely to happen. Ugh.
I've only been kidnapped twice in my life.
And you probably wanted it.
I still haven't gotten away from the second one.
She said yes.
No.
It was a ruse the whole time? You're good. But yeah, oh man. Stay cool.
Yeah.
We live in the weirdest state. Like, it's like stupid, like 102, 105 here last week. And we'll hit a negative 100 degree temp.
I don't remember it being this hot last year.
It's weird. It hasn't been this hot the last few years. It's been dry.
Because usually we don't, like we've had AC in both houses we've owned here. And it's usually the wind is enough going through the house.
It does do that here a little bit.
Right? But it's been so bad that the wind burns my face. So we open up the porch and we're like, ah, no.
I want to go sit on the I'm going to go sit in the basement.
Oh yeah, you're gonna come over sit on the deck? Have a beer?
No.
No? Yeah.
Last time I did that, I lost 8 pounds.
What's wrong with that?
I walked inside, drank some water, and it was back. It's so hot.
Yeah. I don't like it.
No.
I prefer cold weather because then I can
You can always put more clothes on.
And it's always, I love it when you're cold and you get under the covers and you're like, yeah.
I don't get it though. How's it like 9,000 degrees outside, and yet when your wife climbs into bed, she's an ice cube?
Their feet.
Yes. And they want to put it on you.
Yeah. I don't know what that is. I feel like anything that I could think of in my head to explain it, I would get in trouble for how I explain
Right. I don't know if your wife does, but mine does. Like when she takes a shower, she will get the shower to where it will burn you, like molten lava hot, and then she'll go and flip it all the way to cold.
it. No, mine does not do that.
Jeez.
I have been having the world's coldest showers.
Oh, the creek was nice. I mean, we went into the creek. It was so nice. It was cold. Yeah.
I find it hard to go camping somewhere that I can't run into a lake and swim. So that's why, like, we're looking for a place that we can go and jump right into the water.
There was a pit where we were at, a hole. It was up to here on me.
So you just bathe?
I cannonballed in, and I did bathe in the creek. It's cold. The things I miss when I camping is a bathroom, because I like to take my time.
Yeah.
And the toilets out there are hot.
Well, they make it so that you don't sit in there on your phone.
Yeah, right. It's like it's hot here, and I have no service. I'm sitting there like, what am I supposed to do while I'm in here? just go.
Well, that's why I remember when you said you were going. I asked if you'd have service, and you were like, "Hey, I might have it." I was like, "It's better when you don't,
Right?
because that's what it should be like when you're camping."
Yeah, you not like it was so crazy. Like I'm having conversations with people. I'm not just sitting there scrolling through my phone all.
And my favorite thing is I like it when you go camping places and you see people holding their phones up.
Like they're gonna magically get served. Like it was funny though. Like I said, every now and again, like every random 10 seconds, we get service. So our phone will go off, or Amanda's phone will go off. But can't respond to that. But
if I would have known that, I would have said the whole like, "Help, where are you?"
Right. So she was sending me a list of things to do from camp, and I would get them, and I would send messages back. But sometimes she would get them, and sometimes she wouldn't.
See, my favorite thing of when you get messages late is you respond to them when you get them.
Well, like you sent me the message. I think it was Friday. I think it was Friday.
Yeah, it might have been Friday. It's because I had a panic moment that I was supposed to be looking after
My kid.
Laura,
Yeah.
and we were going to be going out for dinner.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Are we supposed to stay home?"
And I'm like, well, I can't answer, so he's just gonna have to sit on that for a while.
Well, we went out. We went to the Bone Marrow. Had a babysitter for me.
Yeah, you would have got a message. Oh, dude, where's my kid? But no. All's well that ends well.
Yep.
Yeah. And showers. I like showers.
Yes, my daughter's just started doing showers now, so that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And she's combing her own hair, but she can't reach the back that yet. And she climbed her first tree by herself.
Nice. I her every time I'm gonna come upstairs. I comb my own hair. She gets like 3/4 of it, and then the bottom 3/4 look like bird's nest. Like, yeah. I think we need to touch it up a bit.
Yeah. Man, it was pretty funny though. The other day, she would climb the tree at the park up by our place. I don't know the park's name there.
Optimist.
Is that what it is?
Mhm.
And there's like a tree that is kind of angled. So she got up to the one spot, and she was so proud of herself. She decided to go to the next high one.
Getting high in the trees was never the problem for me. It was when I wanted to go back down.
That was when she got up because she was so brave. Now,
Yeah.
right? That she did the hard one. Then going up the next one wasn't that hard. And she got up there, and she was like, "Well, there's nowhere else to go." And I'm like, "Well, you gotta come down." She's like, "I don't know how."
And that's it. You're like,
You gotta figure it out. And she got wedged. Her foot got wedged in the V. And she's like, I was like, okay. So I had to go down. And then she panicked and kicked me in the face.
I've made it a general rule to not allow my kids to go anywhere I don't want to end up having to go. Because if they go there and they can't get out, I'm like, oh, I got to go in after them.
Yeah. I look at it as a challenge.
I totally cannonballed into the creek this weekend, though. And no one else would do it.
Those chickens.
I mean, they dunk, but they wouldn't cannonball. Granted, my feet and butt hit the bottom.
When we took your daughter to the Chinook pool there,
Uh-huh.
and she wanted to go off the diving board, I told her that I would catch her. So I treaded water. She jumped, and she would pull me under, and I'd be like
Drowning.
Yeah, and I'd have to push her up, which would push me further down. And in the panic, you're breathing in water,
Mhm.
and I'd come back up, and she'd be like, "Let's do it again." I'm like, "You gotta give me a second."
My left lung is still full of water.
You know, even when you expect it, when somebody else pulls you under,
Oh, yeah.
you have panic moments.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't worried about drowning. The thing for me was I was so worried that I wouldn't be able to get her back up, and I couldn't tell because I was underwater.
Yeah, you can't see. Open your eyes in the
I was
chlorine
like, what's
water.
Derek gonna do if I don't get her out of the water?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so your daughter almost drowned me like 4 times, and then I told her I couldn't do it.
Put a life preserver on her. She can do it on her own.
Yeah, but because she's learning to swim.
Yeah.
Right. So she was like, I can do it. So she did it, and then the last one I was like, oh no, because she wanted to do it on her own. So I said, how about you jump from the side instead of the diving board, and I'll be right here, and we can see if you can get back up. So she went under, and it was a good 2 or 3 seconds to get back up from that, and she got up, and I was like, so do you want to do? She's like, no, that was too scary. It's a lot different swimming up from underwater.
Yeah, like when you do your first high dive, you don't realize how deep you get. And you're like, I should be hitting the Where's the top?
I did the high diving board there. It was kind of fun.
But you know what to expect. You're like, it's gonna take a minute to get back up.
Well, I always go down and then linger for a bit and be like, I wonder if everyone thinks I'm drowning.
Anyone's gonna notice if I'm gone? You get up top, nobody even bats an eyelash. Like, well,
Nobody even saw me jump.
did you see that? Did you see me? Yeah, no.
Oh, all that time.
It's that time of the week.
But yeah, I mean, it's next week. We're here next week, right?
Sunday, the 30th, first or the first, 31st or the first.
I don't know what happened to the computer screen, but it's all weird right now.
It's not my computer screen.
It's like double screened it.
Whoa.
But yeah, we'll be here next Sunday at 3
p.m.
So you've been listening to Average Rants here at KNMC.
90.1.
And
Industry.